What do you do if your city bans short-term rentals? Number one, look to see if your property is grandfathered in. Oftentimes, City Council will enact an ordinance that will ban short-term rentals for new licenses. However, oftentimes they will grandfather in existing licenses and allow those existing licenses to continue to operate their short-term rentals. So check to make sure that your short-term rental license is or is not grandfathered in. Now, if it's not, and there's just a straight up outright ban on short-term rentals, then you have to look at other options. A great option right now is corporate housing. You can go on sites like Furnished and find traveling nurses, find corporations who are housing their employees for a month, 2 months at a time, and you can turn your short-term rental into what's basically a midterm rental. You can rent to people for 30 days plus, or maybe even 20, 25 days, and not rent the other 5 days of the month, but rent to an individual for not so much a year, but not the daily rate that you would on a real short-term rental, and rent to a corporation, rent to a traveling nurse, and list your property on something like Furnished and convert your property into a 30-day plus rental. Finally, look at transferring over to a long-term rental. I like to tell people when they purchase a short-term rental, make sure you do the numbers both ways. Make sure it's a good short-term rental investment, but make sure if something happens that you can also rent your property long-term. Make sure it's a good investment. If you have to rent it long-term, make sure you cash flow. If those regulations change and you can't rent on Airbnb, can you find a year-long tenant that's going to allow you to cash flow? If you can, switch over to the long-term tenant. If you have any other questions, go to shortrule.com, see what the rules and regulations are for the specific city, town, or county that you're looking in, or comment below and I can try to answer them.